as 12:30 has come and gone. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I see that we do have a question about the recording for the first webinar. Alyssa, we will be sure to get that sent out to you along with the one from today. That's going to go out tomorrow, but I'll get the last webinar sent out to you once we get this one going. But yeah, so for those of you who don't know me, like Lydia said, a lot of you probably do. My name is Jack. I'm RentCheck's customer experience manager. You probably know me from our chat as well as from any onboarding calls you might have done with me in the past. And today we're going to be talking about the RentCheck toolkit again, like we did last time. And previously we discussed, using RentCheck for different use cases beyond just your move-ins and your move-outs. We are going to be talking about personalizing your inspections to supercharge your inspection process and make sure you're getting all the data that you need as a business, as well as the information that you and your residents rely on to make sure that your inspections are not only productive, but they have everything that you need. And so, just go over what we're going to cover today. We're, of course, going to answer the why would you customize or personalize your RentCheck inspections with our customization tool. We're also going to go over some expanded use cases that are supported with custom templates that we have identified throughout our time using our customization tool and supporting you all with the release this year. Additionally, we're going to go over some of the really important tools available with customization, such as the different feature settings, question types, logic, and custom sections. And then we'll do a quick product walkthrough with a custom inspection that I built for our webinar today, as well as any questions you might have. And so going into the why, customizing your inspections is super vital to your process always. And so documenting and capturing exactly what you need is what you'll get out of personalizing your inspections. This is going to allow you to focus on the things that matter the most to you and your residents and laser focus the inspection process. It also will allow you to create additional questions that are important to your business beyond just what our super comprehensive RentCheck standard templates include. You'll also be able to cover brand new use cases, and you'll be able to use RentCheck standard templates as a basis for these. You won't just have to start from scratch unless you want to. You can take what we've got and make it a part of your process, and you're able to build on it as well as modify and edit what we've already built for you. And of course, customizing your inspections allows you to gather vital information through our asset capture tool by creating checklists to ensure that your residents and your team are doing everything they need to do while they are completing an inspection, whether it's move in, move out, or particular use case beyond those. Additionally, you can utilize customization to fulfill your local and state requirements. There are all kinds of different laws and best practices provided by municipalities as well as state governments. And so you're able to personalize your inspections to ensure that you are fulfilling all of this. An example of this would be in the state of Oregon. You are required to have a resident move-in inspection within 72 hours of the physical move-in, and you can build a special move-in inspection intended for a handoff between you and the renter, or for the renter to complete in a timely manner within their physical move-in timeline. So I mentioned we had some expanded use cases that we wanted to share with you that are supported by our custom templates. So number one, asset capture. We just talked a little bit about it, but asset capture is a tool that we deployed with our customization suite that allows you to document and transcribe the data labels on your appliances so that you have them in a transferable way. You'll have them in text format. You won't have to worry about reading off of an image or maybe getting on the phone with a renter or a vendor to transcribe it verbally. We also have identified storm and disaster damage assessments as a really great way to personalize your inspection process, especially if you live in a place or operate in a place where there are regular storms. We're, of course, based in New Orleans. So we're always thinking about hurricanes, tropical storms, but this could apply to, general weather, whether it's snow, rain, wind, tornadoes. You can basically build a template that would allow you to figure out what you might need to do to repair a building or ensure that it is safe for your residents. Additionally, safety and compliance inspections are something that can be set up as their own template to ensure that residents are in safe homes that are in line with any requirements from your business or from the state or local laws that you'll need to make sure you're following. Additionally, turn. There are lots of different ways to work with a turn, such as a pre-construction inspection before any updates or upgrades are done on the unit. And we also identified make-ready inspection. So we use a turn to, make sure that a unit is completely set up for a new resident after a move-out has occurred, and maybe, your standard turnover inspection has already happened. A make-ready inspection could be a follow-up before a scheduled move-in or putting a unit back on the market to lease. You can also take our exterior inspections and turn them into, not just our drive-by exterior, but it could be kind of any kind of exterior that you need to ensure that your units and buildings are up to code and safe. You can assign these to residents to complete, you can assign these to your team to complete, and they could cover everything from the grounds to the building to specific items for your units. If they're shared spaces, such as pools or other recreational areas that are accessible by multiple units. And lastly, we talked a little bit about handing off inspections to residents or vendors. And resident and vendor specific inspection templates are a really easy way to tweak your inspection templates to make sure that you're able to identify issues as soon as possible and also allow your vendors and your residents to save you some time if they're already, in the process of moving out of a unit, or if they're a vendor going to do some work in a unit. Pre-move out is a perfect example of this, where you're going to be able to identify issues before you even do that final walkthrough with the resident. You'll be able to, show them things that they might want to fix so that they aren't charged for their security deposit return. And you'll also be able to identify anything that, they will be charged for sure. I also mentioned that we had some specific tools built into the customization suite that are going to be really helpful with building these different use cases. First, we've got our feature settings. We heard for a long time that sometimes there's not always a need for a rating on a section. And so with the customization tool, you can take the ratings off if you're just trying to gather data either via text or through photos. Additionally, you can increase or even remove the photo requirement on your features in RentCheck as you're customizing your inspection templates. Because when you're setting up a checklist or maybe a certain type of inspection that would require more written data rather than just photos, this is a way to give your renters the ability to put all that information in one place, or for your team to put that information in one report. We also offer lots of different question types with this tool. We have, of course, our yes or no questions, but we added open text, which is sort of your short answer or paragraph form answers, multiple choice, which allows you to not only have, A, B, C, D, and you pick one as a single select, you can also have multi-select to create checklists, which we talked about a little bit before on a different slide. And that's a really effective way of giving your team and your residents a full list of everything they'll need to do in the course of an inspection as they're getting ready for whatever the case might be, whether that is, getting ready for a move out, doing a regular inspection to identify preventative maintenance. These checklists can be supercharged to basically make sure that everything is being assessed without having multiple questions. It can be one single list. We also talked about asset capture. This is a really powerful question type. And like I said before, it automatically transcribes those data labels for you. And this is something that can really help you build a database of information for your maintenance team, for your business, and for your owners too, if you need to work on getting appliances repaired or replaced in a timely manner with quotes, and if you have any kind of maintenance amount limit. We also have Logic, which allows you to curate the inspection process to gather contextual data. So you're able to kind of create guided pathways in your inspection so that if certain answers are given on an inspection, certain results are shown, such as different features or sections, depending on what their answer was on a specific feature or setting, or excuse me, section. And we'll take a look at that in the mobile app as well as in our customization tool in just a couple minutes. But I also wanted to touch on custom sections because in RentCheck, you're able to not only have sections for all the rooms and areas in the property configuration tab in RentCheck, you're also able to create sections that are not specific to a room or area. And these are always present on inspections created with a custom template. This will work similar to the general section on your inspection templates because this will show up whether you have created a room or area tied to that section. And because it's not tied to a particular room or area, it can be something like mechanical or electrical features that need to be inspected but might not be their own room or area. So from here, I'm going to take us over to the rent check customization tool. So we can take a look at an inspection we created. This is a disaster damage evaluation that we set up. And so this was based off of our exterior inspections that we had built into RentCheck as a standard template. And you'll see on the left-hand side, these are filled in kind of purple or lavender. And that means these are custom sections that were set up so that you are able to set up specific sections that are not tied to a room or area, such as an introduction to gather data that would take users on a particular pathway in the inspection. If we click the edit button, you'll be able to see that within each one of these are not just yes or no questions, these are sometimes multiple choice. And this section, the introduction, is not even required to have features or photos because this is a response, almost like a survey, rather than just an inspection section. We also have logic built into these so that as renters answer specific questions after, let's say, a hurricane or a bad tornado, and they're assessing damage in the home, as they answer certain questions, they're going to be taken to different, or they'll be able to access different sections of the inspection and different features. You'll see on the left-hand side, there are these little branching paths that are shown to be logic for the different sections. And we have this on both sections and features. Logic on sections will allow certain sections to appear after an answer is given. And on features, if an answer is given on a particular question, if I click this button, you'll see that first question in our introduction. If you answer yes, it will prompt the general damage prompt. Because in our introduction, if you were to answer yes, you're currently inhabiting the property, regardless of any damages after a natural disaster, you'll then need to start assessing the damage and showing the property management company what the issues are. And this will cover all kinds of different parts of the unit, starting with the exterior and the grounds, and going to things like the outdoor appliances, water damage and wind damage on the interior and exterior. And there will also be an acknowledgement at the end for the conclusion of the inspection if you did not indicate you had any damages on your property or that you are currently inhabiting the unit after a natural disaster. And so I'm going to go ahead and set up one of these inspections so that we can take a look at it in the mobile app together. So I'm going to head back to our inspections tab, and this will probably be very familiar to all of you. If I hit the create button, add unit inspection, we'll grab one of these units here in New Orleans, and we'll use our new disaster damage evaluation. And when I set this up, since I used our exterior template, this is going to allow me to select specific items in case there are, I know for a fact, there aren't any outdoor appliances or items that need to be documented from this list. Because every unit's different, and in some cases, you might not need to gather all of this information when assessing damage. But for the sake of our example, I'm going to grab everything and then assign it to myself to complete. So I'm going to change my screen share over to my phone really quick so we can take a look at the mobile app together. And give me just 1 second. Sometimes Zoom doesn't immediately pick up my phone when it's plugged in. All right, can you see my screen? Okay, cool. So you'll see I have a bunch of different inspections set up here, and we're going to want to go into our disaster damage evaluation that has not been started yet. And you'll see I just have my introduction and conclusion at first because I haven't put any answers in to trigger any of our conditional logic to show certain sections and features. So if I was a renter who was going to do this inspection after maybe evacuating and coming back to the unit, moving back in after coming back to the city, you'll see I have the option to um, answer yes or no, whether I'm currently inhabiting the property. If I answer yes and hit save, it'll then immediately take me to report any damage. This is just the general damage section before we get into the specific damages around the property grounds and exterior. If I answer yes here, hit save. When we head back to our list, you'll see there are now prompts to assess the property, exterior, and grounds, the outdoor appliances such as a washer and dryer, or maybe if there are any pool equipment, and then, of course, our water and wind damage from the storm itself. And we'll have our conclusion section as well so that we can acknowledge the inspection and submit it. But if, for example, I was back in my unit and there was no damage, I go back to the general damage and I'll say that there's no damage. Save, head back. It'll take me straight to the conclusion so that you'll know that this is a uh, completed inspection that did not have any damage to report. And then if I were to change this, let's say to no on the introduction, you'll see it takes away the general damage and I can go right to the end to finish up and submit it. So this is one of many different ways to gather specific contextual data for your inspections outside of our comprehensive existing standard templates. You can take what we've already built, like I did here with the exterior inspection, or I can completely make my own inspection from scratch. So now I'm going to open things up for questions and share my computer screen again so we can really dig into customization together. And I see that there's already a question about how I got to these tools. And so this page is stored in the account page in RentCheck, which is accessed by going to this little blue bubble and then going to account and then going to inspection templates. And I have a bunch of different ones here. And my disaster damage evaluation was the one that we were working on. And then I showed you a few different things that I set up here. And additionally, you can set these up at any time. You can totally build these when you first create your inspections, when you're trying out software, testing it. The customization tool is included with our professional plan, and you can also trial it if you are on one of our other plans. All right, and so any other questions? I'm happy to walk through anything on the customization tool or show any different features that we discussed today. And so I see Carolina asked if there are any new templates, we have to add them to your account. They're not automatically part of a specific plan. So with our standard templates we create, they will be added to your inspection template library when we release them. But if you were to create new ones, they'll also be added immediately. So if you were to click create and select a unit inspection template or a building inspection template or even a community one, you'll then be able to set these up and add them to your library. One important thing to show you when setting up all these different types of templates is that you'll want to make sure you publish them after you finish working on them and save them. So then they'll be available to issue to residents, team members, and whoever else needs to receive them. And William, we will send the the recording of both webinars to you. And so Alyssa asked if you can add a template like the disaster damage evaluation in the app. Currently, the customization tool is accessible from the website, but we're always looking to improve the experience. And if this is something that you'd like to see available in the mobile app, that is definitely something that we would like to add at some point in the future. If you were to want to set up that inspection from your phone or your tablet after you create the template on the website, you are able to set up those inspections directly from your phone on the fly, like you would with move ins, move outs, periodics, or annuals, or any of the other standard rent check templates. And so Wayne asked, is there any way to test logic or templates are working as designed from the computer? Currently, directly from the computer, that is not an option, but you are able to view the different pathways that the logic will create on an inspection. So if we head into the templates, again, such as our disaster damage evaluation, you can click on this edit logic button after you add logic with this three dot button to take a look at what results will come when you set up logic on a specific question or on a section. This is something, though, that we are definitely exploring and adding as a feature for the customization tool because we've gotten some great feedback about this in the past. So Rob asked, can you edit an existing template and save as a custom template? So you can create a copy of an existing template, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. If we head back to our template library, you can either use the copy button shown here on the standard templates or even one you've already created as a custom template. And when you click the copy button or go to create and then select start from template, it will open up a dialog to name the inspection template for both the external use, what people see when they receive the inspection, and name it internally. You'll also be able to change the description to tailor it to the specific context of the inspection and when a member of your team should send it. So there's another question asking, is it possible to require photos on yes answers or for specific answers on multiple choice questions? This is a great question. Our default logic on our questions with the yes or no questions is that no requires both a photo and a written explanation. So if we go into one of our custom templates, I'll take a look at our move in, for example. If I wanted to edit this, you'll see, like I mentioned, this is set up so that if you answer no, it's got a comment and a photo. But if you were to go in and change the type of question to, rather than yes or no, multiple choice, every answer can then be selected to have photo and note requirements if you select that answer. And so when you are prompted to or excuse me, to add a photo, or in this case, someone asked about video, when you have the media requirement on your answers, you are able to add not only photo, but video. And so in the mobile app, you'll be prompted to select photos you've already taken, or you'll be able to select photo or video as an option to add additional photos and videos. So I saw another question asking to explain the difference between a custom section and other sections on a template. And so if you look on the left-hand side, we've got these different sections that are tied to all the different room options in RentCheck. And so you see we've got the front door, the family room, the living room. These are tied to the different rooms or areas added to units. But if we scroll down, I mentioned in my other example the general section. And on this move-in inspection, there's both a general and a mechanical. And these are a slightly different color to show they're custom. And so on the standard sections, they are going to be tied to a specific room or area that's added to units, whereas these, such as general or mechanical or any other custom ones you add, will show up regardless of whether there is a mechanical room or area added to a unit. These are really great questions so far. Does anybody have any other questions for us? Um, I see someone asked how to add a room to their property configuration and how will this appear in the template. And so what we can do right now is we can actually walk through this live. So I'm going to leave our move-in template, and you can access your property configuration directly from the inspection templates page by clicking Edit Property Configuration, or by going to Account and then going to your property configuration right here. And so you've got your standard beds and bathrooms, but for the interior, you can add additional rooms or areas that will be added to the options for your rooms and areas when editing or setting up a unit manually. You'll be able to add the name here and save it. And if we were to add something like a mudroom as a custom room, we can save that, head back to our account page, go to the inspection template. And if we head to the move-in inspection, you'll see because I just added the mudroom, it's actually marked with a little new tag because it's a brand new area that's been added. When you add it as a room or area in property configuration, whether it's an interior or exterior room or area, the item will need to be added to the units that have those features. So in this case, I would need to go to the units I know how to mudroom and add them. And this way, if you were to set these up with the property configuration, this would allow these to be tied to the unit details, not just to the inspection templates, so that your units have a curated experience completing inspections the same way that certain inspections are going to be kind of removed from the room or area designations for the sections. And so I see Jessica asked, this can be done while actively doing the inspection. So currently, when you are working on an inspection, you are able to add rooms or areas that have been added to the property configuration already. There will be all of our defaults that we saw in that list, and then anything you've added to the possible property configuration options. But editing a template while an inspection is in progress will not affect the inspection template that is being worked on. It will affect anything scheduled out for the future since those inspections have not been sent out yet. And then there's another question that I see. Can you change the order that sections and rooms are shown in the inspection? That's a great question. A lot of people kind of want certain areas or rooms to be the start of the inspection when they're reviewing it. And so on the left-hand side, you'll see that the cursor changes to a hand that can grab. And if I were to click this, I can change the order of all of this. Some people might want the doors to be done around the exterior rather than as the first option. Some people might want their renters to start in the kitchen or the living room, or a particular area in the unit rather than just the front door. And when you change this, it will change the order that the inspection will appear in the mobile app. So Renee asked, in the move-in template, can you add a category to a room? Basically just a category for appliances. That's a great question. So within the actual sections, if you were to add a feature, that could be an additional category. So let's say in the kitchen, on the move-in, there's all these separate sections, but you could add an additional feature for anything that you would want as a new category. And so you would need to name the feature so that there would be a prompt in the checklist when they're going through the inspection, add feature instructions. You could say this is our appliance data label option if you wanted this in its own section within the inspection. This is recommended though to do on the individual appliances that are listed here on the left in the features. But if you wanted that to be its own section, add your title and your instructions. And one note is that this instruction field will not appear if you turn off the photo requirement for any sections, or excuse me, for features in your inspection templates. So if I were to come in here and go to settings and turn off the photo requirement, the instructions would only appear if you open the photo section. And so what you could do now that you set up a category in your kitchen, you could then add an asset capture question. That could be a serial number, a model number, or something more specific that you can indicate here. And you can even select a specific asset category so it's classified. When the person is completing the inspection, they'll be prompted to confirm the line of text so that it is, verified by the person completing the inspection that the, warranty number, serial number, any of those items are added after review by the person completing the inspection. Then I see there's another question about copying questions or features to different rooms, and no problem, Renee. But if you wanted to copy features, you do have the ability to do that. You can copy features from a specific section to another section. And you can also copy your questions within each feature. And so if I were to want to copy all the kitchen features to another room or area, I can just select whichever ones I want them to be added to. A kitchen might not apply to the bathrooms, for example, but for living areas, a good one to do would be for your living room. You could apply it to the den or anything else. One thing to note though, if we were to go actually do this on the living room, for example, if we were to copy these features over to the den, you would need to go and update the naming there. So if we head over to our den section, you'll just need to go and update this, and you'll see that this actually overrided or overrode the features that were already there for the den. All right, any other questions? We've got about another 25 minutes. We're happy to walk through anything that you're curious about in regards to personalizing and customizing your inspections. And this is something that we actually have a really thorough collection in our help center that can walk you through step by step with videos and written guides as well. All right, I see someone asked what happens if they unpublish a template after scheduling the inspections. If they are scheduled in scheduled status, meaning that they're scheduled out for the future but have not been sent out, if you unpublish the template, the inspections will still use that template and anything active will still be using that template. And no problem, George. Thanks so much for coming. And so before everybody heads out, I know that you might have other appointments. I did just want to say we do have one more webinar in this series on December 10th that is going to go over some of our more recent releases as well as some of the features that are going to be coming out in the next calendar year. And you'll also be receiving a survey with a few questions about what you might want to see next from us in terms of webinar programming. We would love to show you anything and everything you're curious about. We just want to make sure that we're creating the programming that you want to see so that we can make sure that we are presenting everything in full. No problem, Brandon. Let us know if you have any questions. Our uh, chat bot, Webster, will probably reach out to you while you're working on your inspection templates to see if you need any help or if you have any questions. I see there's another question about permission. So someone asked if you need to be an admin in order to be able to access all of the customization options. So you do not need to be an admin in the account, but if certain inspection templates have not been added to certain permission groups in the account, then you will not be able to access those if you have not been added to the permission groups that the templates have been added to. I see that Kayla has raised her hand. So Kayla, I'm gonna hand the mic over to you, unless that was an accident. I see you took your hand down. I see another question about who can see the template description. And so the template description will appear when you're creating the inspection itself as a way to basically uh, determine which version of a template, if you've got multiple you'd want to use, or what the particular use case would be. If we take a look at the template details itself, you can see you can customize this. And the residents cannot see this either. This is just visible to you and your team. So if there's anything that you wanted to include in the description that is specific to, internal processes, then you can include that here and it will not be visible to the resident. And no worries, Kayla. And I mentioned permission groups. I did just want to show everyone you can change what permission groups have access to specific templates here, and you can create different permission groups to curate what your team sees in RentCheck from the teammates page. You can create permission groups and associate particular templates with different types of permissions so that you can say, maybe one person who reviews the annuals will only see annual inspections in their list, and someone who needs to see move in, move out, turn, disaster damage assessments will see those items if they have that permission group added to their account. All right, and so there's another question. It says, what is the inspection messaging at the bottom of the screen you're on now? So this is something that is part of an upcoming update. This is a way to add a specific contact to your inspections. And so the inspection messaging update allows you to add an email and phone number to your inspections so that when we launch this, you'll be able to include that contact information for your renters to reach out to the correct person to assist with anything from your side of things. Additionally, this is for our team as well to hand off any issues that need to be brought to a property manager so that we know exactly who needs to receive those tickets or issues that we receive from residents. And Robert asks, can the system allow a voice text option when you're inputting your notes? So if your keyboard does have the option when you're working on an inspection, if you have an iPhone, for example, if you have that little microphone at the bottom right, I believe it's on the bottom right, you can do voice to text there. But if it does not appear on your device, I would love to um, just follow up with you and see what device you have so we can look into that. All right, and we are planning to stick around until 1:30 if anybody has any questions. I'm happy to show anybody anything they'd like to see in RentCheck while we've got the customization tool open. And again, this is something that is included with our professional package, but you are able to trial it from the inspection templates page if it is not included with your account. So Donna just asked, what is the inspection template access? All teams versus select teams. So if you had multiple teams set up in your account in RentCheck, you can set up teams to segment your portfolio. You could have certain neighborhoods, associations, or certain property managers units assigned to different properties, or excuse me, to different teams. You could then assign specific uh, inspection templates to those teams so that they're not visible across the board to your whole portfolio. They're just specific to subsets of that portfolio. These are really great questions, by the way, everyone. If you have any other questions, we are going to stick around for about another 15 minutes, 18 minutes. So anything, even if it's not, directly on this page, we are happy to walk through. And if there's anything that you want to request for the future, the Q&A will get saved in our recording. So we'll be able to take any notes that you leave in the Q&A. All right, and so Bridget asked a really great question about removing sections within the inspection that she's creating. So if we go back into the inspection template, Easiest way to do that is to remove the features because this will hide the section from inspections you create with this template. And so what you can do here, just hit the trash can for delete on all that. And you'll see there's this little eye with the line through it. It means that it will not be visible on the inspection. And you'll see here that the system will tell you that sections with 0 features will not be visible on inspections that you create. You have to add at least one feature for that specific section to appear on an inspection you create with this template. See, Kathy asks, where do you find the Help Center? Super new to the app. So our Help Center is a specific URL, help.getrentcheck.com, but the easiest way to access it is to go to this little bubble at the bottom right of the screen. This will appear on both the uh, web app, app.getrentcheck.com, and on the website, just getrentcheck.com. And if you click this, you of course have the option to send us a message, and you're also able to search for help. We have our suggested articles here. You can go into this help tab to see all our different collections. And within each one of these, you can open these up, open them in another tab. If you were to go to, let's say, getting started, and go to account setup, you can go to our getting started guide, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you can open this up as its own tab or window. And we have a ton of different guides in here. If you do have any questions, you are still able to chat us from the Help Center. And there's videos, written guides, visuals with GIFs and different screenshots that we've taken that we've built to explain not only the property manager side of things, but the resident side of things as well. All right, and then Nico asks, are there any plans in the future regarding accessibility to view the signatures requested on inspections without downloading the full PDF form? That's a great question and feedback we've definitely gotten in the past. This is something that we can share with our wider team so that we can see about prioritizing that. Currently, the inspection signatures do live on the PDF directly, but this is a great idea, and I think that's something that we can definitely look into. And I mentioned that we have tools for property managers, but we also have tools for residents in RentCheck in the Help Center. Something that's really great to send to the residents if they are not used to doing things with their phone besides calling and texting. You can use this resident guide that we have linked here that you can share with them. It'll walk them through downloading the app all the way through submitting the inspection. It's got screenshots and lots of different explanations of what they need to do to get the inspection done. No problem, Renee. If anybody else has any other questions, like I said, we are going to hang around for a bit. But if you do have any questions later on, if you start working on a custom template and you have questions for us, you can always reach out to us at the RentCheck logo at the bottom right of the website and at the Help and Support tab on the mobile app within the profile page. And again, I did just want to remind y'all the next and final installment of our webinar series is on December 10th. And we're going to be talking about our releases that are coming out towards the end of the year, along with what's coming next year. And so Bridget asked a question about how can you create a standalone feature not within other features that have been deleted? So if you're looking to create a feature that is not related to anything that was already written or built in the template within an individual section, you can click Add Feature to create a new feature, which will be one of the steps within the section on the mobile app while completing an inspection. Currently, features are tied to sections when you are customizing an inspection. But something you could do is set up a custom section with one specific feature for whatever your specific use case is. Yeah, no problem, Bridget. Always happy to help. So I see Rachel asked on some of the move in, move out inspections that I send out to residents to sign off on, some of them keep getting a message asking for an invite code. Why does this happen? We were not given any codes to give out to residents. Where do I find those? So these codes are going to be 6-digit access codes that are included in emails that are sent to renters when they receive an inspection. And so these codes are not passwords for signing up or signing in. These are passwords or codes rather to access the inspection. Currently, RentCheck will match an email that a resident signs up or signs in with any pending inspections that need their attention. But the code is there in case they have a forwarding address or if they don't immediately see the inspection listed in their account. These are 6-digit codes that are included on the emails, and within individual inspections, they will be listed on the inspection timeline. Yeah, and I can show you exactly where to see those codes. So if we go into an inspection that's been sent out to someone, these are going to show up only on inspections with invites or when you share an inspection, like it was mentioned before with the signatures. If we go to an inspection that has been sent to a specific user to complete with manually assign residents or the teammates option, we can go to our periodic inspection here. We'll see it was assigned to me. And there's a code listed here in the assignee section next to my email. And within the inspection timeline here in the middle, it'll be listed on the initial inspection request. If someone is ever looking for it, you can come and copy and paste it from here. And you can also advise the renter to look at the end of the emails that they've received, whether it is a reminder or an initial invite. And again, I just want to also reiterate that with the invite codes, these are also there in case someone uses a forwarding address for their email. If they receive an email at a work email address or a personal email address and they want to sign up with a different one, the code is there if they have a different email address than the one that they received the inspection invite at that they want to use for RentCheck. And again, they only really need it if they're signing up with a different email than the email that the inspection was sent to. This could come up if, I sent an inspection to my Gmail account, and I wanted to do it from my RentCheck account or RentCheck email rather. And another thing about the codes that I did want to share is that they are one-time use. So when they are used, the inspection is then associated with that email and the RentCheck login that claimed it. And so it's not the password, it's a one-time code. Any other questions? We can talk about anything RentCheck. And someone asked, will every resident get the same code? No. So each code is unique. When you send out an inspection invite to 4 people living in one unit, or you send out an inspection invite to, many units at once with lots of different recipients for each unit, no one will have the same code. They'll always be unique 6-digit codes that will have both letters and numbers. And I did just want to say, as we have been answering all these questions, we have been logging them so that on the recording, you'll actually be able to go to specific sections of the video to see when these questions were asked and answered. And so that'll be built into the recording that you'll receive tomorrow around 12:30. All right. And again, if you don't have any other questions, thank you so much for attending our second webinar in this series. We're definitely going to have more going into the new year. If there's anything in particular you'd like to see, just let us know. And I see that Rob raised his hand. So, Rob, let me just call on you really quick. If you have any questions or anything you want to share, the floor is yours.
Hi, sorry, I was trying to type and it wasn't working. Can
All good.
we add a custom room name? So like we have bedroom 1, can we put in there, hey, this is the, into the hallway on the left or something like that?
So within the, so you could create a custom section that way, but that will of course not be tied to a particular room or area. And so you wouldn't have to add those as a room or area in property configuration. But if you wanted to label your bedrooms, you can totally do that from the property configuration by adding them in the interior section in property configuration. And they'll be listed as options on the unit details page.
Okay.
And in the future, we have some bulk actions that will be available. They're still being built, but you'll be able to apply changes to many units at once if you wanted to add particular, custom bedrooms or different rooms that have been added to the property configuration.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, we've got about 5 minutes left. If anybody has any other questions, if you prefer to talk to ask the question, you totally can. But please feel free to continue using the Q&A as well. All right, Bridget asked if you can edit the room names after completing the inspection. So if it is one of these custom, like, such as the mud room that I added, if you completed an inspection and then you went and changed it, you can. But in cases where it's one of these standard rooms or, you want the name of the room to change on the inspection, that will be tied to the name of the room at the time the inspection was completed. But that is good feedback that we can share with the team. And again, I just want to thank y'all for showing up for our webinar today. If you do have any questions while you're working on your custom templates or just exploring different ways to leverage RentCheck, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We love to hear from you, whether it's feedback, questions, anything that comes to mind. Please feel free to share it via chat, email, any way you want to contact us. We're going to stick around for about 3 more minutes. And like I said, the recording will go out tomorrow around 12:30. You'll receive it via email from Zoom with the subject line, the RentCheck Toolkit, personalizing your inspections. No problem, Jessica. Thank you so much for coming. So Rachel asked, just to confirm, the invite code will only show up if the resident has a different email address than listed. So the way this works, every single invite in RentCheck has a specific code associated with it, that 6-digit code. It is available for anyone who receives it to use, but it is not necessary unless you are going into RentCheck And if you're signing up, let's say I have jackstallard@gmail.com as my email in AppFolio or your property management software, and I decide I want to use my work email to set up RentCheck and complete my rent check, that would be the case when you would use the code as a resident. It's there in case you need it. It's not there conditionally. So it's always there, but you don't always need it. All right, it's coming up right to 1:30 here in New Orleans. So I'm going to start closing out the webinar. But again, any questions you have, any feedback, please feel free to share it with us. And no problem, Emmy. Thank you so much for coming. Like I said, you're going to receive a survey sometime next week with a couple questions just about what you'd like to see from us next with any future webinar programming. Again, thank you so much, and I hope you'll have a great rest of your day.